off of my ear, so I'm gonna play some PUBG. PUBG. Alright, we're gonna play some PUBG. And I'm gonna come up with a topic at some point. So, we're gonna talk about something maybe. Maybe. I don't really know. I'm getting punched a lot right now. That's really cool. Or no, I'm not. Alright, so let's do this. And we don't need a cigarette while we're doing this? No, we do not. We do not need a cigarette while we're doing this. Do I have all the stuff off of it? Yeah, we're good. Yes, it's time. There we go. We're going to the buildings over there by the quarry, probably. I'm gonna go and see if I can do these two buildings right here, and then go to this one. I don't know if these have good stuff, but let's see if we got anybody around us. Got a dude next to me. I'm gonna go over here. And then I'm gonna move backwards and try to see if I can take him out. I got about 4 kills, so I'm probably gonna get 4 kills again and then die, but I'm doing okay. It's challenging, so, but I've also, you have to worry about people that cheat if you're not familiar with it. They might have to go through their servers again. Alright, now I'm gonna work my way back, since I found some guns. But I need a freaking vest, so... Okay, that's over there, at the quarry. I'm gonna work my way back over this way. See if anybody is over here. They're over there, but to my right, or to my left. There you go, I see a dude. He's throwing it over there. Let's see if I can got him. He's probably right here. No. Need a helmet. Maybe some body armor. There we go. This dude's just having it out there. Let's see if we can pick a few off. There we go. Got 100 bullets. Going in the quarry. See if there's anybody there. It's a dude behind me, I think. I'm gonna go back through and see if there's anybody there. I hear somebody on my left. Alright, I'm gonna change this one out. Oh wait, that was me messing with my headphone. That's the reason why I heard that on the left. There's probably a dude in here. See if anybody's following me. So, to think about, um, I need to go towards the circle early so I can look back and see, but I need to go towards some buildings because I need to find a scope. Oh shit, where's he at? Probably in the water. Yeah, there he is. Here he is, he's in the door. I see him. There, oh no. There he is. Damn it. I was going off just hearing shit, so like, look. If you see, I think, if you see, this one is fucked up. It's right here. I think it's this one. Yeah, this one's fucked up. Because if you, now you can see the bad one, so, alright. Let's go. It's okay. Alright. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette now because I'm back at the main menu. So I need my medication. I am currently off of it right now. I felt my my medication leaving my system, so it's probably not my bloodstream. So it's kind of hard to, not hard to focus, but it's hard to make words when I have certain fears and things like that. It sucks. It sucks. Certain fears. Let's talk about that. Um, my fears, I guess, the things that kind of, I'd say like nag at me and stuff like that. There's a lot of different fears I have of my parents sometimes. The fact that, or that maybe they'll lose it or something like that. It's hard to think about getting. See if I can bounce it off of walls. somebody, yeah. Physics in this game is on point. So, yeah. I think that, oh, oh, pretty much ready to kind of go for my dreams and stuff. Even though I'm scared. Got a lot of fears sometimes that people will, like, won't accept me, or there'll be a terrorist attack. It's an avid fear, and when the government brainwashed me, they didn't take that memory away, you know? They didn't take it away, and I think that was a conspiracy theory, that I was an alien, and then I somehow just got here, and, I mean, you know, it was crazy. It's a bunch of... I'm stupid. I'm really stupid. I try to make jokes because to cover up for my fears sometimes, and it works for the most part. But it works for the most part. But other times it doesn't, and I get scared a lot. I get really panicky because of the thing. I internalize my emotions, and I'm used to internalizing them. Alright, let me see if I can find a scope over here. And see if I can look at the quarry and scoop some people out of there. Oh, there's no scopes up here. Awesome. There's a dude with a sniper rifle. I see that. He is trying to shoot. Lots and lots. Are there any scopes? I gotta start running now because... There we go. There's a dude over here. I think. Maybe he's behind me. Because I don't see anyone. I think I heard someone. Okay, it's back that way. Or it's in front of me. Yeah. closer and closer to my big objective. Oh, I farted. It's great. There he is. Okay, we'll get him. Got him. Okay, as soon as I get inside our building, I'm going to get my shotgun. Two-time scope. Nice. Son of a bitch. Somebody followed me. We're gonna do it. We're gonna get it done. We're gonna get it done. This is at 100% now. Take this off the charger. There we go. So, there's like a lot of fears that I have. That there's a natural weather system probably coming, and it's gonna... The Senate is gonna... they're gonna unpromote a wall. Of course, I think because of the way that Trump actually does things, because he's a businessman, y'all have to know this, he's playing whatever Senate there is, he's trying to make them make more regulations at the wall, but not just more walls at the wall. Whatever wall we have, I guess. Because of the shipments of a lot of different types of contraband we get here, and this is my thing I got. It's my my companion cube. It stays with me always whenever I'm playing video games. It stays with me. I'm gonna bring it. It's gonna be tight wherever I go. Some consulate demoting Palestinian mission. U.S. built capsule with a dummy board docks space station. Advisor says Trump gave nothing away in North Korea talks. Obviously, he wasn't either. Stupid. Okay. You don't give away people the frickin' first meeting. You don't give away anything in the first meeting. You don't do anything in the first meeting when it comes to that stuff. So those are some of my fears. Friggin' Kim Jong-un having a reserve of fuel and rocket fuel, tornadoes, floods, diseases, viruses, stuff like that. Let's see. Drowning in your sleep, you know, that stuff. Oh no, he's gonna drown in his sleep. No. I'll be fine, but barefoot. But yeah, those are most of my fears. Lots of stuff. Lots of people just not giving a shit about their fellow man. All that stuff. Or then after they do give too much shits about their fellow man, they go after people that don't give a shit about their fellow man. And then in efforts to improve the quality of life where they live. And then not realizing that to improve the quality of life where they lived, all they had to do was talk to their own government and not give a shit about the people who don't care about their life. There's a lot of gunfire around me. I think I hear somebody right there. I think he's inside. That was a chair. He's running outside. He's got a shotgun. There he is. He's inside again. He got out. There he is. Shouldn't have got so close. Alright. So many fears, so many fours. So little time. Fears. So many fears that I have that keep me from going out and doing things. People running people over in a drunken stupor. Stuff like that. Lots and lots of stuff. Basically just making me stay indoors, or when something big actually happens, hot wiring a car and leaving, or hot wiring a van and taking all my family and leaving, and stuff like that, and or taking all my family and friends, I guess, family and friends, yeah, family and included family sometimes. But I have to worry about myself sometimes too, and if they have exit strategies in case everything gets awry and they have to go to a Walmart, or can't go to a Walmart because it'll be blocked up with all the people trying to take it over and saying freedom to the people, and then riling up crowds of people and stuff like that, and acting like they're the big boss of the city now, and all that other different stuff. It's like, who really cares who's the boss? Just if they're the boss and they're doing stupid shit, lie to them until they get fired. And if you don't have a system in place to do that, then you can technically take the law into your own hands and leave. Leave. Don't play their games. Leave. It's like that whole thing about Negan. It's like people could have escaped or a prison. Like there's like 30 people in front of Negan, and somehow none of them freaking try to beat the shit out of him. Because he beat the shit out of them. Obviously, it's stupid. You know, it's like, it's dumb. Just like it didn't really like the whole like a whole concept of Negan's character is the fact that he takes advantage of the weaker, basically, and that's not something you do in a zombie apocalypse. You kind of have to stick together. Like, you gotta be like, you can't like just as. If you do, then people will fear you and they won't tell you what's wrong. They'll wait until it becomes a problem and then throw it in your face. And then, yeah, that's usually the reason why you shouldn't rule with an iron fist. And that's why I hate people who say if you thought that it was then you fucked up. Of course, they probably don't say that when I'm around. They probably kiss the boss's ass or the real boss's ass because they're middle management.
Yeah. They're middle management. If the real boss ever found out about what they were doing, then they get fired immediately, no matter if they were related to him or not. But it's just semantics, guys. It's just semantics. You know? I want to get a real job, guys, where I have to listen to people. I'm going to the volcano. I did not even get a gun. I'm not getting that rifle. I have a problem with uncontrollable muscle movements. I think that's a sign that my shot isn't working, and might have to talk to my psychiatrist because it's getting to the point where she wants me to not take it anymore. Not take it anymore, but what's the word? Slowly wean me off of it, basically, because of me getting these muscle movements and stuff like that, and trying to crack my neck in certain places and stuff like that, and getting like huge cracks and stuff, and it's concerning. It's definitely concerning. I shouldn't go so far inland. I should wait until they come out to the. There he is. Is that him? No, it was a different. That's my ear rubbing against my hoodie. So, I mean, basically, what people need to understand about me is that I'm a pretty sensible guy. I always like I try to lead things to reason, but when dang it, I slowed down. Fucking god dang it. I try to lead things to reason, but when someone like tries to irk you or mess with you or something like that, I shouldn't give them the power over me. You know, that's kind of where I left my whole relationship thing. I guess it was where I was like giving in to people who were just like not good for my sensibilities, and they really didn't have anything for me. Or they had something for me, but it wasn't what I wanted. It was mostly just ill will and stupidity. But hey, if they push me to find my own career, then you know what? I should thank them with a ticket if I ever become or would ever tell them that they are fired because they're terrible people, terrible people, or at least they don't know how to express their emotions or be like Joe. Joe, maturely, what I really want to say to you is I don't believe this is your career. I don't believe this is your fit. And that's the reason why I put that Visine in your drink and gave you a cocktail when you were trying to explain yourself to your girlfriend and you wound up yelling to her. You know, I mean, hey, you know what? I was like, let bygones be bygones, but you ever try to do it again, I'm going to throw it in your face. Ah! If you ever try to do it again, I'm gonna shove it down your pants, and you're gonna trip for balls for 8 hours. Yeah, great times. This is like, yeah. Have you ever tried LSD ingested accidentally? Not technically accidentally, but Ever had 12 hits of acid put in your drink? Man, whoo, good times. Ah, man, you know what I do? Whenever people lace my drink with something, I really like to show them how much I care, and I like to make sure that I get it in their eyes. Because if you absorb something through the eyes, you immediately trip balls. So, I know about stuff like that, but that it kind of doesn't stop me from wanting to get a job more than it stops me from wanting to talk to those people or tell those people about my feelings in any way, shape, or form. So, that's kind of like my fears too, is that I'll do such a good job that I'll make other people look bad and they'll try to do something terrible to me to make themselves look good and then make me look like an idiot because they think they make me look like an idiot, but they may just make themselves look like more like who they are. Assholes. I don't care what they are or who they think they are, but they're an asshole. They're an asshole and they deserve stupidity and dumbness around their lives all the time. No matter what they do, because they're dumb. And they're stupid. And I hate them. Don't really hate them. But, I do, not like them. Some bits. But, the most of what I think, though, about a lot of people is that if there was like millions of dollars involved, then they would do that same thing to me. But of course, if the millions of dollars was involved and they stand to lose the $1,000,000 if I fuck up, then they probably wouldn't do that thing, you know? I try to... Okay, I'm gonna throw this out the window. I'm gonna go in with my shotgun, I think. Wait. I'm gonna go in with my shotgun, I guess. And then I'm gonna see if I can pick him off with my other gun. No, I'm gonna go in with my other gun first. This is most likely an outside battle. Alright, so, but yeah, basically the whole reason why I try to help people, like there was a girl that I tried to help and then I wound up having sex with. Not gonna say her name, but I was working at a certain place that kind of, not gonna say, but, I wound up trying to help her at first, and then she, basically, didn't screw me over, but I guess she talked about it, and kind of just, I don't know, I guess I just wanted that thing for me, I guess. It wasn't really, I didn't see it going places. Got him. Oh, he was behind the bar. What a bastard. I heard his footsteps. I thought he was right there with the thing. I thought he was trying to get the stuff, the loot. And I also noticed that a lot of times in some news stories, this is why I don't watch the news anymore, because there's always some sort of opinion, like a public opinion kind of, that goes into it. That there's not like it's weaned towards something, it shows you like a full view of what someone believes, the way something will sway, and you just ignore that if you don't want it to sway that way. Like as a person, as a singular like living person, if you if you if you see like an opinion piece, ignore that part. Like, ignore the opinion about it and understand that the information you're getting is usually the truth, but like a lot of times markets just seem a little bit more less risky, like a little bit more stable sometimes. Like governments, not really communist, but like socially driven economies. Social, like not socially driven economies. That's what China is right now. It's basically the person who acts the best or is the most behaved gets the most out of the society that is, I guess. And that's the point where if you don't understand that that's gonna fuck you later on, it's gonna get you like really hardcore into some stuff that you don't want to get into. It's like that whole thing is like it's basically like if you could say that it won't get that far, or I believe in the people and that's the reason why I think that it'll work, and that's the reason why you think, but I noticed that it already placates people into believing something about themselves that isn't true. Is that by being a good person or sociably being a better person is going to make you more money. And what that does is that as an economy caps every person, but every person needs something different. You can't have the same on every single person's plate, because a 200-pound dude and a 51-pound dude, like say for example a person is just heavy, okay? They eat the same amount as somebody else, but they're just heavier or they're denser, or say for example you want to make a football team or you want to make some sort of thing better. You're going to make that person eat more food, right? And how is that fair to the person who doesn't eat more food? How is that fair to the person who doesn't eat more food and doesn't play on your football team? And that in itself is treating a person who's more socially acceptable and that plays into the system where everyone is equal. Because if everyone gets the same amount of food except for the dude who plays football, then the dude who plays football is going to realize that he thinks he's a better person, or he's going to get into in his mind, especially if he's young and doesn't sees the night and doesn't see naivety. And I'm going to see if I can. Dang it, right before I could get it off. That would have been so tight if I got him. But, oh man, I don't play PUBG enough, probably. I just need to practice more and I'll probably be better. And I need to stop hesitating before I take that shot. So, especially in close quarters combat, I need to stop hesitating as far as that goes. And stop worrying about every variable in order to make a perfect shot and stuff like that. Because if I'm outside of a building, I'll have a different characteristic or a different characteristic to my fighting than I will if I'm inside a building. And and I'll have a little bit more like kind of pep in my step if I'm outside because I have more room to work with, and if I'm inside, I'll stay still a lot more to take a better shot because I'm gonna be like, yeah, yeah, it's like it's hectic, but I got to work on my technique, I think, and I'll be better. But that's kind of what worries me a lot sometimes, is seeing all that stuff outside of my life and wondering how it will affect my life, because that's the point too, is whenever you're with certain people or you're like around certain people, you're like, wow, this person's really cool to get along with. I bet if I did blah 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 blah. That's the same way it works with economics. Like say for instance, if you wanted to build an economy inside of a socialist regime, what would you do? You try to as much use the government as possible, right? Try to give the government more power and stuff like that, and you can do that, but what that does is creates a pigeonhole. As it creates there that pigeonhole is the only way where people can make money once you've established an economy within it. Now you can invest in the military in the U.S. You can, and that means that a lot of people actually do, even people from other countries. You can even people who have come here from different other countries. You can invest in the military. You can really invest in the military. It doesn't take like you don't have like there's people that invest from other countries in stuff in tech here, but not in a socialist regime. In a socialist regime, but because they're not a true socialism. They're not true. It's like everyone's got this whole like stigma when it comes towards different types of government, or this kind of paranoia when it comes to seeing anything through. Like, say for example, Greece or Rome, Roman Catholic. They were supposed to be a republic, but they turned into a totalitarianistic republic. You could, whatever person had the most seats in the Senate would control the House. So, in that same sense, you're not creating a republic where everyone has a voice. You're creating the people who have the most representatives inside of a place have a voice. Inside of the U.S. government, you can control a House, but you will not be able to control Congress at the same time. That's the check and balance. To make sure that every group that invests in, or every group that ever has a voice in a certain area has a voice. That's the reason why a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't like the West because they're exactly like Rome. Basically, they're Rome, and that's the reason why." No, that's not what we are. We're not even close to Rome. Like Roman Catholic is more tied to the Church of to the Catholic Church of Britain, and a lot of different places that wound up fleeing Rome when it was destroyed, and parts of Southeast Europe, and not Southeast, but Southwest Europe, like Italy uh, um, and a bunch of different places. I mean, I'm not saying that like go there if you want to like I'm trying to find a gun and it is hard. Got it. There we go. What do we have? Okay. There are a lot of times in certain situations inside of governments where no matter what you do, everything falls apart. And when it does, when that falls apart, it's like most of the time, if you don't have a bureaucracy in place, nothing will get done ever. Like if you try to like take it by force, eventually you'll realize that you should have just asked them. and it's like it saves lives basically, because a lot of times, um, in certain situations, America's pilgrimage and 13 original colonies remembered almost everything about Southwest Europe and a bunch of different places that had uh, a stronghold on a lot of different places, and you couldn't immediately make up a business if you wanted to. You had to work with whatever company or whatever private security firm or whatever person that was working with the government, and that government would give you a license, and then you could make a business. You can make a business if you want to in America, and it will acknowledge it, like you're a business. If you want to be a business, then you're a business. But if you want to be a taxable business, then you get that little piece of paper giving you a license to do basically whatever you want to. You can be a business in New Orleans and a bunch of different places. But if you want to pay your taxes as not just an individual when you're paying your taxes, and get that license and be a business, then you can. Because if you don't make yourself a business or get a license to be a business and have employees, then technically you're just doing your own hobby and you're making money at it, and you can do that if it's taxable through you. And technically, if you're an individual, then you're just an independent contractor, freelance independent contractor, and that's what you're classified as if you decide to make a business and not allow it to be acknowledged by the U.S. government. You can still make a business though, and it still is lucrative. It's a lucrative thing, and you can do whatever you want on Etsy or whatever you want to, or your own website. You can make your own website and sell stuff off your website. You have to do it as your own informal or formal taxes. It's good. It's awesome. It works and it makes so much sense when you think about it like that. But a lot of people don't realize that the stuff that they think about every day, or the stuff that they say things about every day, is already in place in the U.S. Like the stuff they fight about in other countries, stuff they absolutely kill about sometimes, is literally in place in the United States. And the reason for it is because we learned from other countries how to make our business, how to make our things, how to make our lives, and that's what not my forefathers believed in, because before our forefathers had slaves, and slaves were basically the forefathers of the people who decided that they were gonna. I think though that there's a lot of times where people don't get is that the reason why Africa sold all those people, and the reason why a lot of people would bring slaves and things like that, is they wanted to seem likable. They wanted to say, well, you're giving this person a chance, and when they're not a slave, you'll be able to make sure that they can prosper as you can prosper. A lot of people did it not for just social status, but they did it for a business, to be able to learn business and have a free accounting people, because that's what a lot of different people learned, whether they worked in fields or not. They learned accounting, they learned a bunch of different stuff, and this change in a lot of different things has a lot to do with the way that the generation after the slavery was abolished, the generation after that got angry because it wasn't as hard, it wasn't as easy as people said it was, because there were and to say that it's not as easy as people say it is an understatement. Like, it's hard to make a business. It's very easy to establish a business, but it's hard to keep one going. And the reason why it's hard to keep on going is because you have to keep making hard calls. You have to keep making a bunch of different people happy, and you have to keep on making a bunch of different products for people who you don't even think are going to be there for you. And that's the part about making a business and creating businesses that people don't understand, is that you have to create an idea, not just have a product, but create an idea behind the product that makes the product desirable. So that's why they said, "Oh, it's a part of social status, and everybody wants one." As far as slavery went, that's how they made it popular again amongst white people. And once they realized that it wasn't really as a thing, it turns into a stigma after everything else. And most of the people in the North didn't believe that there was any what was it extended didn't believe that there was any lucrativity at all. There was owning someone is terrible, or saying some. But they can say that about prisons today. But they can also say that there are people out there that got affected by all that stuff and all those different cycles of hate, and those cycles of hate can dig so deep in wounds that just never close. And if you really think about it, as you start to heal or start to try to heal against those other things, you have to realize that a lot of times people didn't get that time. Like, they didn't have that time to heal. They didn't have those people that were watching their back, or there's people that were liking them. Like, some people, or not most, but some people decided that he's on the other side of these buildings. Or no, he's inside one of them. But I think the more you delve into something, the more you realize how many wounds are actually open inside of you. The more you delve into your own fears, the more those wounds seem like they need help right now. Or like the more you dig into a cut, the more you realize that you're digging into it and it's opening the wound. You know? Like, you're not helping yourself by opening up problems. You wanna fix the problem, you know? And I realize that people don't get it, you know? People don't get the fact sometimes that in order to get a bullet out or to get a thing out, you have to open the wound more, and you have to realize that there's something in there. And as per there being something in there, there's also a piece of yourself is missing, and it's like a reverse bullet wound, basically. It's like someone took something in there, and you have to create something in order to be able to make sure that you can heal from everything that you're thinking about. And you have to create an herb, like that herb. You have to, not that herb like as in smoke herb, but as in, like, there's a healing solution to your problem, and it's being able to understand that fucked up things happen, and realize that not everyone should go through it, but if you're able to heal yourself afterwards, then it's a it's something that you can live through and makes you more employable. Makes you better at what you do. And once you realize that it does take a lot, and it take a lot to give a lot. Oh, damn it, man. I jumped while I was dead on that one. If you take a lot to give a lot, the more you look around, the more you'll find things that people go through as well, and the more you'll find, like, not only if you don't want to give yourself up, or if you don't want to share something with someone else, but that initial feeling when you see someone, that the way that they hold themselves, or the way that they do something, and it speaks to you in a certain sense, or it makes you feel like you're finally see someone like you, basically. Not like you as in like race or creed or religion, but a person who holds themselves in the manner of you being the same demeanor or the same body language as some people. Being able to understand and relate to those things is a talent, and in being able to give yourself therapy, you finally sometimes are able to realize that I'm not alone, and there are other people with this problem. But I mean, there shouldn't be, but there are, because the more I think into it, the more I see there are other people just as hurt as I am. And not just hurting, but trying to understand. Not hurting and failing, but hurting and succeeding. It's like, in order to keep succeeding, you have to be in tune with what people want, but seeing what another person in your life that isn't just something that you want, but someone that you can eventually relate to, or even have a relationship with. I mean, not a passionate, completely platonic relationship with, but but the certain kind of people we are, as far as things go, we see something and we want to, or I see something sometimes, and I want to relate to that, or I want to get to know that more. You know, I see a girl with a cute nose ring, and then she smiles at me and notices that I noticed, and that's how sharp I want the woman to be. But I want her to be as open to be able to be honest with me about the fact that she wants to get it removed, or maybe get another piercing, or anything like that. I'm open to all that, but like, to be able to think, to be comfortable enough in her own skin to not to tell me how she feels, but in the same sense, not try to hinder me at the same time. You know, like telling me it's okay to feel, and at the same time telling me that I can do my artwork wherever the hell I want to because I'm a grown man. Yeah. And granted, I have to find a room for it eventually, once it gets big enough, but alright, we're gonna see if we can just drop in. He had a vest on. I should have shot him in the head. I need to get better headshots. But I noticed that there are a lot of dudes that do streaming sometimes, or do videos, and they won't show you where they fuck up. They won't show you where they fucked up or where they got it wrong or anything like that. It's the same thing with world leaders. They're not going to show you where they fucked up. They're not going to show you their mistakes. They're not going to show you anything to make you believe that you shouldn't have faith in them. That's every leader across the board. They will admit when you catch them that they fucked up. But no politician in my entire history of me understanding politicians is that you'll never find out when they actually fucked up unless the world finds out that they fucked up. You'll never find out because they want to seem the nicest and most down-to-earth person ever. If they are taken to jail for a prostitution ring or taken to jail because they're the worst type of person and they just decided that they're going to shit on their kids and tell them that they were worthless or something like that, then they usually find out. And no matter who it is, if you're around Secret Service for more than a month, they pretty much have you pegged. So realize that you have people watching you constantly. If President Trump ever does any collusion or ever has done any collusion, the Secret Service will find out way before we do. And if the media's kind of leading you on and saying, well, Trump might have done something with Russia and not told anybody about it, or not really done anything with Russia, but his friends did all the stuff with Russia, and he stayed out of it to remain anonymous or remain anonymic, I guess, to get immunity, I guess, basically, without having to go to a plea deal. If you think about it, that's probably the actual thing that happened, rather than people completely going off to the reservation and going towards Russia and seeing if they can all help somehow with the campaign or something like that, or receiving money from payments from a Russian consulate and understanding that that's bribery, and even if it was American, if it wasn't told to the government, that's the reason why it's bad. Okay, you can accept as much money as you want to from any source, but it has to be brought down to the nearest dollar. It has to be brought down to the nearest dollar as far as what payment it's going for, what needs to happen, and the reason why it does that is so that people can follow money. It's like if people who like different things and like certain stuff, that's what they constantly go to. Like, if you say, wow, then we'll put all our money in this, and the military, obviously, too, wants to invest in private businesses. So, like, say, for example, a power company wants to make a grid somewhere, wants to make a grid where there's not a grid, okay? Like Mississippi, for example, in the 1950s or 60s, okay? 1950s, somewhat. There wasn't a lot of power. There wasn't any power, technically speaking, on a big scale. There were lights, and people could turn on lights and stuff like that, but they didn't have the stuff that they have now. If you want to invest in someone's business, you have to find out who's making the most money and who's selling the best service. Realizing that is the way it is, it's not just for crime to be able to figure out what everybody's doing all the time. It's like, yeah, you want to figure out what everybody's doing all the time. You want to ask the government wants to ask the private company to be a part of their plans so that they can have contracts for many, many years to come so that they can support an economy. So if you ever make your own government or ever have your own government or even try to make your own government, you're always going to run into this problem. Every single step of the way. And it's good to have people that have actually done it before and not have them be enslaved, because then they get pissed off and they get guns and then they hurt you after you tried to hurt them. But that's basically a big thing there. People always take all that stuff into example, and not only is it the fact that a good thing builds good faith, it's even the worst fucked up individual that decides that they're gonna create a business or create something and they've never done it before. Okay, this dude needs to die. everyone who ever tries to make a business runs into these problems once they get big enough. They realize that, you know what, there is a cap to their thing. There's always going to be a cap to how much you make. No matter if you're in a capitalistic government, if you're in a socialite government, or whatever the hell you want to call it, doesn't even matter to me, because it doesn't matter. There's always a cap on how much you can make. Every single chance you get, you'll always run into some sort of thing, or some sort of step back or something like that, that you'll find out is the worst thing that ever came, and you want it to stop, but you can't, because it's basically Mother Nature, kind of. If you think about it, I don't want to call it mother because it's not really a thing to me. I'm not that spiritual. I'm not a spiritual guy, but it comes into every single business and plays on every single different profit of everything. If you plan for Mother Nature, what you would eventually come out with is kind of a capitalistic government, because you know there's an invisible cap on how much actually people make. There's only so much you can actually make in a day, even if your product sells like hotcakes or sliced bread or Betty White. So realizing that people can't be all evil and have, like, if they just go into stocks and bonds, there's a cap you can make at the end of the day. But that cap is also set at a certain rate of inflation. So they plan for inflation. People plan for a whole bunch of different stuff. And governments can see this coming because they've realized the statistic beforehand to actually help you. And to actually help you make the most money you can possibly make in a given day. So realizing that kind of sets the scale, or sets the kind of stage you want for any pitfalls that you see there before you. Anything, you'll start to realize that getting into a lucrative business is a lot easier than making your own, no matter if you're doing it legal or not. Realizing that illegal business, no matter what it is you have so many pitfalls with people who are sometimes egotistical or act egotistical because they have a product that they know no one else can get anywhere else. And it's not that they're egotistical, it's just they act that way because they know that someone else doesn't have it. But it's not the fact that also people are egotistical as well. It's more the fact of, if you were to establish something with the government and lobby to be able to make that substance or that thing legal and make it to where people can, because there is only so much coke someone can do in a day. There's only so much weed that someone can actually smoke in a given hour. There's only... Oh, you son of a bitch. I didn't even see him. He's probably right behind me, hiding behind a rock. There's only so much things you can do in a given day without completely and utterly ruining yourself. There's only so much you can actually think about in a certain day and lobby for anything to be legal or be available. That's possible in the American government. That's possible with the United States government. You may get some naysayers, definitely, but you're going to get naysayers everywhere. You're going to get naysayers in person, people who governments hire to be able to create those instances and places for people to be able to understand that no, technically not everyone that's classified as a drug head or drug addict really is a drug addict, because they started doing it out of fun. They started saying that they wanted it out of desperation in some cases, because they got bored with everyday life and they decided that doing something illegal or doing something that they thought was fun was lucrative to them or helped them get along with everyday life, no matter if they're doing it legally or illegally. Realize this, that the government will never look at you like a criminal unless you are actually proven guilty. And the reason why you're not looked at that, because they want to give you the benefit of the doubt. And that's the reason why a lot of things in the government and the U.S. markets don't prosecute people who have done heinous things like, oh my God, they killed that one dude, but how'd they kill him? He did a bunch of coke. Oh, that's bad. But he did it, not the guy who sold it to him. That guy gets a different charge, not killing that guy. Because that person is like, oh, you should know about people and their and there are certain addictive tendencies. You should know that. That means you're responsible. No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean you're responsible for anybody else's life but yourself. So realize that, and also realize that yes, they will be treated differently because of them doing that in society. But once they stop that thing for a certain period of time to where they're not actually talking to those same people, then they need to realize that eventually they just change their minds. Society changes its mind all the time. Society constantly changes its mind because people change their minds and constantly see it from another different person's point of view. Say, for example, a person drives naked and gets a ticket for lewd conduct or something like that. Eventually, people who, even though how many ever people saw them driving naked, were like, "Oh my God, there's a naked dude in that car. That's crazy." The reason why people say that's crazy, or the reason why I say that's crazy, is because I want to help that person. And initially, my initial thought is, why is that person naked, and can I help them without touching them? Not, oh my God, I want to, oh, she's so hot. No, I don't care. I don't give a shit about a woman or a man being, it's like, wow, that woman just ran through a lobby naked and shit on a floor. That's usually the biggest thing I think you're going to think about when someone runs at you naked or something. The music's drowning me out though, so I'm going to just say, you are your own one-person bomb squad.
You can defuse situations that you think are happening, but also realize that if it's not happening, then you look like a fool. So do your history. Do history. Do history. Study history, no matter if it's black people, white people, Asian people, anything. It'll tell you something about yourself. It'll tell you something about the person that was back then that's still experiencing, or the energy that's left around while it's still experiencing the things that you're experiencing. Understand that reincarnation would probably just be something that was like, oh, that's cool, in some futuristic mind. And enlightenment is just technically having, like, wondering about something, or realizing that the only reason why you decided to do something was because you got initially you got initially sucked into some sort of where a whole bunch of different items and a bunch of different things. We're gonna go with items. My items. I don't have any items. Alright, we're gonna go with militant crate. Tight. I got my tight shirt. That's what I wanted. We're gonna go with the biker crate. Received a hat. Biker crate after the survivor crate. Got some cool new shoes. That's pretty cool. And we're gonna go with a raider crate. Oh yeah, got it. Yes, that's what I wanted for that. I think, maybe. So be yourself and realize that not everyone's trying to ruin your life. The judge may give you the harshest sentence or the non-harshest sentence, but believe me, when you're out, your life isn't over. Okay? If whatever you are, wherever you're sitting at, however you're sitting there, realize that if you're sent to jail right now, your life is not over. If you're not, then that's good. Then obviously they thought of you not as the biggest person to actually go after, because they don't go after everyone. They usually just go after the dude that's controlling the money and stuff like that, the one that's really fucking up the entire situation, because that money initially came from people's pockets, and they want to reinvest it into the economy, and they don't want people to be able to get that stuff sometimes, to realize that boredom is the enlightenment you need to be able to understand that there are so many opportunities out there. How's it going? You sleeping? Hmm? You're sleeping?
I sent you a cigarette.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought you were sleeping and I was being too loud. Here you go.
There.
What's up?
Is Jacob in?
No, Jacob's gone. Jacob's gone. Just realize that. Realize that your life isn't over if people say it's over. They can say what they want to. They can say you'll never work in this town again. Doesn't mean it's true. They can say, you thought and you fucked up. That doesn't mean you thought or you fucked up. It just means that they fucked up and they have to explain it to their boss. And somehow they're going to blame you. But understand, if they blame you, then they put responsibility on you. If they blame you for something and you're still working there, then they put you with some of the best stuff. Or tested you with some of the best fuck-ups, or the best kind of fuck-ups, to be able to make sure that you're doing well and doing your job and looking at stuff instead of actually not paying attention. Because there was an instance in my job where there was a dude with an ID and he was supposed to get in, but he wasn't supposed to get in, and I didn't know that because I didn't look at one little thing on his ID, one little thing, seeing the fact that the laminate wasn't long enough to be able to fit on the ID. And that's all I had to understand, and all I realized was I held it by the sides, and I covered that part up so I didn't pay attention to it. Other people found out about it, and were like, he'd gotten up to an entire VIP room with a bottle of champagne before they even realized it. So it wasn't even just my fault. But if I would have actually seen that, then that would have never happened. And I got docked $200. But realize that if you're still there, then they still believe in you. They still know that you can go through the fuck up and realize that not only are you better you're better at yourself, but you're good at your job. And if that person still believes in you, or if that person ever even tries to believe in you, don't let them down. That's my laptop, so it's playing by itself. My room is haunted. Have a good day, and just because something seems hard doesn't mean it's going to be, because it's just your fear of build-up. Fear of build-up is not fear of authority. Fear of build-up is the fear that something will build up to some situation. I had to close my thing because that's copywritten. I don't even need this on anymore. Realize that, and understand that the people do care about you. Oh my God, are you serious? I say that, but I don't believe in God. But it's just that because I used to go to youth group and all that other different stuff, and I realized that it wasn't something that I believed in. I believed in myself, and that's the point of no return for that. I believed in myself, and I believed in my own things, that there were people out there that were terrible, and I couldn't just sit by and watch those people make fools of themselves and then eventually take their own life without thinking that. That's kind of why I do this, but also because I'm bored. Just imagine what I would do if I had money. Lots of it. I'd have lots of money. It would be so good. And I wouldn't just sit on the beach and not care about my problems or anyone else's. I'd be proactive, so give me money. I'm about to have shirts, so if anyone wants to buy one, let me know. Alright? Be yourself and have a good day. Squid-a-doo! Oh my God!